Good morning, my dear students. Today we are here with second part of chapter number 6, physical and chemical changes. As we already studied about physical and chemical changes in our previous lecture. Now I give you a quick overview of previous lecture in which we studied about physical changes, which are any change in substance that is mostly reversible and which does not involve alteration in chemical composition are called physical changes. Example, tearing a paper, boiling water, etc. Next one is chemical change. A change that is irreversible and involve the alteration in chemical composition of substance. Example, making food, boiling egg, etc. Now, we will start with our new topic, that is rusting of iron. While playing in the ground, you might have come across an iron bordered wire which has turned reddish brown. You might have also seen some old metallic objects at your home. You would realize that these objects have turned reddish, unlike their original metallic color. This is what we call rusting of iron. The reddish brown covering of flaky substance on the iron object is called rust. When an iron object is left in moist air for a considerable time, rust is formed. The rusting requires water and air to be present. The chemical name of rust is iron oxide. The next slide shows the rusted car model. The car rusting occurs when car is exposed to oxygen in air and water or water vapors for the considerable time period. Now come to the next slide, which show a chemical reaction. This reaction shows how iron oxide or rust formed. First one is the diagrammatic representation here. When the iron come in contact with water and oxygen, it gets converted into rust or iron oxide. This is also the same equation. This is iron Fe react with oxygen O2 and water H2O. It gives iron oxide or rust. This is the actual reaction which takes place to form rust. Now come to the next slide. Here is a different term which is corrosion. Corrosion and rusting are ultimately the same terms. But why we use two different terms to explain a single thing? Because when a metal is exposed to moisture, air, water, acid, etc. for some time, a layer of oxide is formed which weakens the metal. Hence, metal said to be corrode. And this whole process is called corrosion. Iron is the most widely used metal and the rusting of iron costs millions of pounds each year. Here is the term corrosion. The corrosion of iron is given a special name, rusting. If any other metal other than iron is rusted or destroyed, it is called corrode. But in case of iron, corrosion is known as rusting. Only iron rusts. Other metal corrode. Now come to the next slide. Here are some examples of rusting in everyday life. Rusting happens to metal or most probably iron. Metal rust because they have iron in them. If any metal have iron or any substance have iron, it is called rusting. Vehicle can also be rusted. This train, this car, or many carpenter's box are also rusted. A blade is also an iron object which is rusted easily when left in open air and water for some time. Iron nails are the most common target of rust. This is also an example of rusting. Different type of machines which are present in open area are also rusted. Rusting slowly destroy the substance or the material completely. In fact, if the content of moisture in air is high, which means if it is more humid, rusting become faster. So the question arises, how we can prevent the rusting? So here are some preventions which are taken to prevent rusting. First one is galvanization, the process of depositing a layer of zinc on iron is called galvanization. The iron pipe we use in our homes to carry water are galvanized to prevent rusting. It is an inexpensive procedure. Sorry, inexpensive procedure. Second one is coating and painting. In this, coating the surface of metal object or iron object with the layer of either paint or varnish will break the contact between the surface of metal and atmospheric oxygen, making it consequently immune to rusting. Next one is humidity control. By controlling the humidity of environment, we also can prevent rusting. Therefore, the chance of metal object rusting will reduce if the humidity will be controlled. Last one is alloying. Alloying the iron with other stable metals or alloys can slow down the process of rusting. This is the long-lasting process. Example is stainless steel. Stainless steel is alloy of iron, chromium, nickel and carbon. Is used to make cutlery, machine parts, surgical instrument. Nickel steel is the mixture of iron and nickel. Is used to make automobile parts. So, this is all about rusting. Now, come to the next topic, which is crystallization. Crystallization is an example of physical change. Crystallization is a technique used for the purification of substances. A separation technique to separate solid from a solution. Crystallization can be defined as the process through which the atoms or molecules of a substance arrange themselves in a well-defined three-dimensional or 3D structure. Or we can say crystallization is the solidification of atoms or molecules into a highly structured form called a crystal. As you know that salt can be obtained by the evaporation of sea water in the form of small crystals. The crystals are so small that cannot be seen by naked eyes. So, the large crystal of pure substance can be formed from their solutions by the process of crystallization. Now come to the next slide. Here are some examples of crystals like diamond, lollipop, etc. all are examples of crystal. Here is an example of crystallization to prepare the crystal of copper sulfate. The crystal of copper sulfate can be obtained by adding copper sulfate powder to the boiling solution of water and dilute sulfuric acid or H2SO4. The mixture, when filtered and allowed to cool, it produces the crystal of copper sulfate. When a substance is subjected to crystallization, its atoms or molecules bind together through a well-defined angles. Now come to the next slide, which is objectives and applications of crystallization. The first application of crystallization is it is the technique which is used for purification of some substance or purification of drugs or any other chemical substance. Second one is better processing characteristic. If we purify a substance, its characteristics are betterly understood. This process is easy to handle. Better chemical stability is provided by crystallization. It also improves the physical stability of a substance because the substance forms the special 3D structure which is formed by a well-defined angles. Or next one is its sustain release formulation. The exact formulation of a substance is easily obtained with the help of crystallization. So, this is all about crystallization. Now, come to the next slide. It contains an activity. It's time to perform an activity. In this slide, we have two pictures which represents two different type of changes. One is physical change and other is chemical change. The first picture shows tearing a paper, which is simply a physical change because no new substance is formed. Only a large piece of paper is cut into small piece of paper. Only the size of paper change, but the chemical property of each page or each piece of paper is same. That's why it is a physical change. But on the other hand, second picture shows the burning of a paper in which new products are formed, such as the burning of paper release carbon dioxide gas, and ash as the end product of the paper, and it also produces light, increase the temperature and generate heat. As we already studied in our previous lecture in chemical properties or chemical changes, all signs represent the burning of paper is a chemical change. That's why the tearing of paper is a physical change and the burning of a paper is an example of chemical change. You can easily perform this activity at your home in the care of your parents. Now, we come to the next slide, which is your classwork slide. Here are some questions in your classwork. The first question is, explain why rusting of iron objects is faster in coastal area than in desert area. So, the answer is, as we know, the rusting of iron requires the presence of oxygen or air and water or moisture. So, the content of moisture in coastal area is high as compared to desert. That's why rusting of iron in coastal area is faster than desert. So the answer is, rusting of iron requires contact with water or moisture and oxygen. In coastal areas, humidity or water content or moisture content is more in comparison to that in desert. Hence, rusting of iron object is faster in coastal area than in desert area. Now, come to the next question, which contain fill in the blanks. First one is, when carbon dioxide is passed through lime water, it turns milky due to the formation of which substance? The correct answer is calcium carbonate, because when CO2 passes through the lime water, it converts into calcium carbonate, which produce milky white color. Next fill up is the chemical name of baking soda. The chemical name of baking soda is sodium hydrogen carbonate. The third question is two methods by which rusting of iron can be prevented are: one is painting and second one is galvanization. We also can fill alloying or any other preventive measure. Now come to the next question of your classwork, which is anaerobic bacteria digest animal waste and produce biogas. This is the first change, change A. In the biogas is then burnt as fuel. This is the second change, change B. Now identify these changes. In this, both the changes are chemical changes, because in both the cases a new substance is formed which is chemically different. That's why both the process are chemical change. Now come to your homework. State whether the following statements are true or false. First statement is iron pipe coated with zinc do not get rusted easily. Is it true or false? You have to choose the correct answer. Second one is iron and rust are the same substance. Is it true or false? Take the right answer. Third portion is condensation of steam is not a chemical change. Is it true or false? Choose the correct answer. Now, second question is the gas we use in kitchen is called liquefied petroleum gas or LPG. In the cylinder, it exists as a liquid. When it comes out from the cylinder, it becomes gas. This is the first change. And then it burns. This is the second change. Now identify these changes. Whether it is physical, both are physical, or both are chemical, or one is physical or chemical. You have to choose. Now the third question is explain how painting of an iron gate prevent its rusting. And the last question is identify changes. First process is photosynthesis, whether it is chemical or physical change. Similarly, dissolving sugar in water is a chemical or physical change. You have to write here. Burning of coal. Similarly, melting of wax and beating aluminium to make aluminium foil. Is it chemical change or physical change? And digestion of food. Write down their changes. I hope you understand the chapter and all topics. Thank you.